Hey y'all, we are back with another Mighty Multimedia Reviews. This one, to be honest, I don't know how interested people are going to be in this, but I found it interesting. I'm pretty invested in this, so I think it's worth it. Season 2 from Amazon Prime. I think this was good. I really enjoyed it. So the first season was, obviously you know who Jack Reacher is, right? He comes from books, and he comes from the Tom Cruise movies that has been made a little bit ago. And those Tom Cruise movies were pretty. The first one at least was pretty good. Actually, I don't even know if I saw the second one. I think I've seen it on TV or something. But it's a pretty well-known premise, pretty well-known character, and all that. The first one did a good job. It didn't do an amazing job. I think some of the acting was pretty wonky. I think some of the action was pretty wonky. The story was pretty good. You know, it comes from the book, so how much you really adding there? But you know, you have to do some translations, obviously, from the book to the screen. Originally, just starting off here, I think this second season is a lot better. I think it takes a lot of steps up from the first season, from the cinematography to the acting to the action to the cast, the new cast that's coming in here. So, you know, just starting off, I think it's better, and it's always good to see a show on an upward trend, right? Especially Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime, most of their stuff looks really good, and is really good. And I was a little disappointed in the first season of Reacher, but I think they corrected it. They did a course correct, and it looks good. So, really, what I want to talk about, the main thing I want to focus on, we'll see how much I really go into everything else. But the main thing I want to focus on is the plot of this, the story, and then how all the ramifications of that come about. And that plot being that Jack Reacher's former military team is being hunted down, and it's fantastic. It's an awesome plot. It's an awesome hook to get you into a Jack Reacher story, to a great mystery for Jack Reacher to uncover and everything. But the big thing is about the ramifications that this has for his character. Okay, so this is the crux of this episode, the crux of my review, what my thoughts here. So it's a great premise, right? That Jack Reacher's old team is being hunted down. But really what's great about it is it brings in the one of his own team that are still alive. Obviously, it's Neely. We know Neely from the first one. But we get these other ones, a love interest, a friend who you can see, O'Donnell, that you can reflect off of Jack Reacher, and really all of them reflecting off Jack Reacher. You're able to see how crazy and like weird he is. And he is. I mean, Jack Reacher's a really weird guy. Most of the time he admits it. And at some point it's just, at some point, he's just kind of a schmuck, right? I think they're showing it here that he's got. No one in his life, no family really, no spouse, no significant other, no house, no job, no blah, blah, whatever, no clothes, no permanency. I mean, a crazy person does that. And they say that. And there's not a lot of other people who can't say that to their face just because of how scary Jack Ryan looks and because they don't know him in many ways. So I think this is a great reflection on this character. Okay, we're going to get into a few other pieces that I think are a little less interesting than this. But before we do, so there is a kind of flip side to this, another side of the coin, right? So, you're seeing how Jack Ryan changed from what he was. He wasn't always as he is now. And how weird he is, and how these people recognize it, right? His friends recognize it, his family recognizes it. But we were also really getting away from the whole lone wolf thing. And it's good and bad, right? Because he was a serious lone wolf in the first one. And he's definitely still a lone wolf in this. And he ends as a lone wolf. We'll talk about that. I'm going to leave a little bit of the ending to the end discussion. Just a little draggy, and make sure you watch the rest of this video here. But it almost feels too early, right? If you're doing these, I don't know how the whole Jack Ryan story plays out. I don't even know if it's there's specific episodes in specific chapters in the saga of Jack Ryan, or if it's just ideas that are happening. As Jack Ryan and James Bond, things like that. It's more just stuff happening, different missions. I don't know if Jack Reacher has an actual concrete story. But this feels early, especially in the show. I don't know if they're just kind of afraid they're going to get canceled, so they're getting it out now. But this feels like a last arc, a concluding arc in some way. I don't know, but either way, you're getting away from him being a lone wolf, of being him who he is, who you're interested in him as Jack Reacher. And in many ways, I'm starting to like the team that is around him more than just watching Jack Reacher do everything alone by himself. And I think that might be a problem. Who knows? We'll see. Two just little pieces that I liked throughout the series, the season. Not really big plot points, just stuff that happened. Finley coming back from the first season, I just think had a really good cameo. Cameos can be tough, but he came and went really easily. He contributed to the plot. He acted it well. He had some interactions, had some callbacks. That was just really well done. And then a second idea here is just when O'Donnell and Reacher go in to investigate this dude who is like a legislative assistant to a senator. They do some kind of like Mission Impossible kind of stuff. It's a lot less than Mission Impossible, less sophisticated, but just a thing where they convince this guy that they're the FBI, and they just kind of flip, and they're like, no, we're not the FBI, but because they already got their information. It was well done. It was a fun concept. It was good. Two things I specifically didn't like. One's complicated, one's easy, so I'll start with the easy one. The easy one is that I think these people, a lot of them are just too well dressed. There's a whole point where they have to get dressed up for suits and dresses and stuff to go into an opera. But throughout the whole part, everyone just looks so great and stylish and fashionable and expensive and rich. And I just don't think it doesn't fit the show. Reacher never really does, except when he dresses up in the suit. But all these guys, they talk about how they have money problems and stuff, and there's just a detective and a private eye and all these. They're just government workers for the most part, and they just look impeccable. And you can have good taste, but I think some of these are a little too expensive for these characters. And then the other piece, rolling a little bit into it, because it's just one of the guys, but he's probably the least fashionable out of everyone, is just the interesting use and arc of Officer Russo. I don't love it for the most part. I think the actor did well in what he had, but it was the story demanded for this officer to just be this detective, to just be the chillest cop on the planet. Jack Reacher. You can't have those characters that are so similar in names here. How that's got to cause problems. I don't know. So Reacher attacked him unprovoked and knocked him out unconscious, broke his nose. And then after that, when they kind of barely knew him, firebombed just a suburban house and went in and murdered 15 people. And they did other stuff after that. And Russo is just totally still okay with all of the cowboy shenanigans that Reacher and his team are doing. I just kind of think you're asking too much because he's supposed to be a really by-the-book guy and whatever. But then he just keeps doing stuff that's just not like that. And then, after all that, his death is kind of crap. It's kind of sucks. I don't think it's really needed or warranted. It's kind of just, wouldn't he be at the climax? Yeah, of course he would, so we have to kill him now. He was useful while he was here, but we need to end him. And, they try to throw in some trauma, and I just don't think it landed. It was awkward. It wasn't Reacher who saw him die either. It was Neely. I think it needed to be Reacher, and it was good that he was saving the kid. That was a heroic way to die, a heroic way to go, obviously. But just how he went, he probably didn't need to get shot in so many ways. He probably could have just laid down kind of suppressive fire while the girl ran away and said he was getting up and almost just allowing the bad guys to hit him. I didn't like a lot of his arc. Okay, one last thing before we get into the ending. Not really something I particularly liked, not something that I really particularly hated, but just an observation, the flashback that they did, right? It's going throughout the whole series. And at the end, we realized exactly what went on, and that Reacher's team was working on, they were military police, and they were working on this one drug bust case for 2 years, something like that, more than 2 years, did so much hard work, and were just about to crack the case. And then their military superior was about to get promoted, so he shut it down because he didn't want that happening. He didn't want it coming up that it was actually going on under his watch. But then the team just said, screw it, and did it, and then took their punishments. I don't know. I mean, my observation is like, was that really worth it? Because they were expecting their careers to be destroyed, I guess, right? I mean, most of them seem like they landed on their feet. So there's that, I suppose. But it just felt, I don't like, it just didn't feel worth it. I feel like there's so much more good you could do in this role. Like they said, this is the best we've ever had. We're working so well together, and it sucks. But I mean, and also you could do, I don't know, some like shenanigans or whatever, and where it's not you and you can't trace it back to you, but the problem still gets done. I don't know. I think that could have been done better, but it wasn't like a big critique or whatever, just a little observation. So now we're going to get to the ending. I'm just going to go by a few things, because the ending is super important. A lot of this middle is just kind of mucking around. But so the ending, they finally find out that their buddy Swan is dead. They kind of thought he was dead, but then they maybe captured, maybe he's working with them, was going back and forth. I think for a while now you kind of knew he was dead. But he was dead. They found him. The bad guy pulled out his eye, which is a pretty gnarly way to do it. You know what's interesting is that this whole time, because there's a lot of at least implied deceptions and betrayals and stuff, and most of them actually didn't really come to fruition. Maybe one a little bit, but not even really. But actually, in the first season, I wrote down and I called that O'Donnell seemed really sus, and I was wrong. So that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe they changed his character around a little bit, but for the flashbacks, he was like the party boy, and then they morphed him into, really in a really beautiful way, into this family man. But he was just, he was, even when he was this family man with his wife saying bye, and I mean, this kid that he's taking care of, and they're like, you don't need to do this, you don't need to come with us, you have more to lose. I was kind of thinking, he got sucked up in the money, and he was selling people out, and he was kind of on the wrong side. It was wrong. My instincts were wrong there. I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but that's a sense that I was feeling, and it's just interesting. I wanted to put that out in the open here. Okay, and then it's just kind of how it's wrapping up. So at the end, they're on a helicopter, right? Because two of the guys are strapped down, and Reacher climbed the helicopter. Okay, first of all, I mean, I guess he's a military guy, but damn, there's a lot of upper body strength going on. There's not a whole lot of people who could do that. I guess, Reacher's just supposed to be superhuman almost. So I guess that's fine. And then, but there's this ridiculous point in the middle where this guy has a gun and Reacher pops up, and instead of kind of shooting Reacher, which seemed very possible, at least looked very possible, he flipped around the gun and tried to hit him with the butt. That was absolutely ridiculous. But it was just a little small thing that probably could have used one more take. But it wraps up the evil guy that was in their buddy's security of this kind of weapons company, not chip company, whatever, and they're making weapons and they're selling weapons to this terrorist guy, and the chief of security. They get him on this plane, they throw him out, they kill him, they save their people. Yeah, I do like how they just don't give a shit. They're just murdering everybody, because these are all bad guys and or terrorists and such, or people who had a hand in killing their friends. But that's how Reacher is. That's how these people are. So gotta appreciate just the accuracy there. And then it goes crazy, I think, is really kind of the only way to put it. So I'm just gonna give you the sequence of events, right? So this terrorist, that mastermind broker dealer guy, they finally track him down. They lure him into a cabin, and in a super cathartic way, all four of them just absolutely shred his body with bullets and blow him away. That's tough. But again, he's a terrorist. He killed a bunch of people. He didn't. He said, he was like, I don't even know your friends. So that's true. But, he's a bad guy. He's an arms dealer. He's not a good person. So, kind of screw him. But then there was two other people that were just involved. They were just engineers or whatever. And they said they weren't going to kill him. They let him go. They landed the helicopter from earlier. So they let them go in the helicopter. And then they used the missiles that all this stuff was about. And they blew them out of the sky. Sadistic. Man, that was messed up. The other one was okay, but you're still supposed to be good guys. That was too far. After that, the senator that they were working with, because he was part of the arms bill with these missiles, he sent them some SEALs, some of the guys he had to help him out Army Rangers, maybe whoever it was, and then they turned on him and they were going to kill him because the senator wanted it all quiet. But then they called the police and they got the SEALs and Rangers arrested, and then they called and got the senator arrested. Nice move. Those were good. We're being a good guy again here, not taking the corrupt deal from the senator. Calling out him to justice for his actions that he took. And then I just was not expecting this. So there was a 36 million, 68 million. I don't remember what the number of the amount of money it was, but it was a lot of money in a briefcase for the buyer. The buyer was bringing it, and the police was like, "Where's the money?" And Reacher said, "What money?" So they swiped the money. I don't know. These just feel like a lot of crazy actions to take by Reacher and these people. I don't know. There's a fun montage of Reacher spending the money in really great, fantastic ways. So there's that too. He helps everybody out, all the victims, all their friends, everyone in really nice ways. Not most of them, not just handing over cash too. Really sentimental. But I don't know. You weren't expecting it, so some of that was good. Some of it felt out of character, but some of it was cathartic. I don't know. A little bit of a mixed bag there. Okay, and then getting back to what I originally said, right? Because at the end, Reacher leaves. He, he had this romantic intertwinement with one of the members of his own team, and they rekindled. But at the end, they were just like, felt like they were getting back together. They were going to try something and just kind of cut it off quickly, and then he's on the bus leaving. It's just weird. I know that Reacher's a wanderer. That's his character. That's what he does. But this felt final. It felt like a switch. It felt like a change. It felt like he was growing as a character. He was realizing these people were his family, as they talk about it, because he lost his brother in the first one, so he doesn't have anyone left. But these people are his family, and it felt like they were getting closer together. It felt like they were breaking through to his really lone wolf way of living. And then they just really kind of smudged the board. Just, no, we're not doing that. I don't know if they went too far and someone changed it. Maybe the showrunners got the rug pulled out from under them, and they had to switch it up because maybe they were thinking this was the end. I don't know if it was going well and they wanted to renew it. I don't know if we're gonna get another season at all. They didn't really say it. The two seasons were very devoid from each other, just picked up at another point, so it's not like it led in. It's not like there's a post-credit scene that's leading into the next season. I don't know if there's going to be a next season. This felt really final, except the very end. And I guess in some ways, it feels like a continuation as well, because every time he's going to end with him just wandering again, I suppose. I think that's a big problem I have with Reacher, for the most part. The Jack Reacher just kind of franchise. It felt weird. It felt like they were doing one thing and they went the other direction. And I think so much of it was built up in some ways, and to just swipe it at the end didn't feel quite right. I would love another season of all of these people from the team rather than just another season of Reacher. But we'll see what we get. In total, it was good. I can't speak on the adaptation because I haven't read any of the books, but I think this was on par, if not better, than the Tom Cruise movie. I think it was an improvement from last season. I think Amazon Prime did put out another good show. They've been doing pretty well in the past few years, so I'm looking forward to future installments there. But yeah, that is all for me. Let me know what you thought, and I'd consider watching it if you haven't. I guess throwing in a recommendation yet. But yeah, let me know what you think. That's all from me today. Signing off.